Hi folks, this is Keith. I'm still working on the A-64 and you can see the A-64 in front of you. I found a really interesting thing. I was kind of going through the radio and I was testing voltages, and I started at the top and came all the way down through the radio, and I got to the bottom down here and started testing the output tube. And I found this is a 450 ohm flexible resistor. There's one half, there's the other half, and there's the middle with the wires around it. So this thing burned up completely, and that could be a problem with some of the stuff that's voltage wise that's going on. I need to replace it. Some interesting things. Obviously the yellow caps are mine, but there are dog bone resistors in here and they test pretty darn good. I mean, now I don't know what happened with some of this. There's electrical tape here and electrical tape here and electrical tape here, so I'm kind of assuming that some point in the past maybe they replaced this power supply. Now that is an A power supply and it is the right one, but who knows, maybe they replaced it at some point in the past. And it looks like somebody did something in here because electrical tape, I'm not sure about all that stuff. Like Dennis said, your first, and Art too, your first line of testing is test the voltages. Voltages are a little bit low, but they're not completely out of tolerance. I mean, where it says 254 volts, I mean, you can get a pretty close, accurate, it's like 238. And where it says 102 volts, I'm getting 98 volts. And I know you're looking at me going, huh? What in the world are you talking about? Well, this particular schematic model, there's kind of a cool little thing that I have been using a lot. Let me see if I can show it to you. Okay, I want to go kind of slow. Alright. And I'll zoom in a little bit and hope this thing. Okay, notice that it gives you the underside of the chassis and it gives you the tubes and it gives you voltages. Here, let me move over just a little bit, see if you can see it. So you get voltages. So you can check them very easy on this schematic, which is really cool. And you can kind of look at it and see off that the 6F6 that there's some fairly high voltages, but here, let me get rid of this. They're showing up pretty close. It's not awful. I'm wondering what this is going to do effect wise. I'm also wondering what they did with this, because obviously this came off. This is the AC line cord. I do have it on an isolation transformer. I have a TV isotap WP25A, and I have my Variac plugged into the isolation transformer. So this is on an isolation transformer. I got that from you guys. I went out and bought one. Really neat idea, works great. I'm going to kind of keep looking. I'm going to start backtracking too and make sure that I didn't screw any of these up. There's an awful lot of electrolytics in this thing, and they were in very small, I'm going to go slow again, very small packages. So you can kind of see that's an electrolytic, and it was a 450, there was a 4 and a 10. The 4 was 450 volts, the 10 was 25 volts. So I kind of wired everything back in and used same points they were going to, but this electrolytic used to fit right up in here, and there is one left, but I cut all the wires and rewired everything in there, and that was 2 4s. You can see under here there's an electrolytic that's above chassis, and I cut the wires here and spliced in my electrolytics. So I've got everything in, and the radio is working very weakly, but I'm wondering, my other thing here, let me see if I can move this without screwing up all the camera angles. All right. If you look, you will notice that there's a 1 meg here, there's a 1 meg up here, and a 1 meg underneath here. All of these are reading, that's reading 1.67, 1.56, and about 1.55. So the the resistors, the 1 meg resistors are pretty high. That dog bone's within 5% actually, and a lot of these are. There's obviously one of those tri resistors back there, the long ones, that's got different taps on it. They're all fine. They're reading within 200 ohms of where they're supposed to be. So I'm kind of trying to figure out, what's causing the weak performance. I'm thinking we may have, some silver mica disease. I'm not completely convinced. I'm going to have to take these apart. We have a lot of coils, and we'll just have to kind of check and see if we have silver mica disease. As we all do, I keep tapping on everything and checking everything. I'm going to do some tests with my solar capacitor checker and check these and see. I know they don't go out very often, and yes, they test pretty close, but I've been finding testing them that a lot of the micas are leaking. So we'll kind of check that and see what's going on. I'll keep you up on this. I'll switch this out and then show it to you. Things are going fairly steady. I've actually been getting more signs of life, different radio stations, that kind of thing. Fixed the band switch up on the front. It was off, and so we're working our way through this. One of the neat things about this radio has a history. So there was a store in Albuquerque at the turn of the century called Lenny's, and it was Lenahan's Irish family that came over. And in 1936, Mr. Lenahan bought this radio, and his daughter told me that this radio was playing in the store. It was in the store at Lenny's and playing all the time. So this thing has gotten a lot of heavy duty use. It's kind of neat because it has a history, and there's a history to where it's been and what it's done. And I'm sure it announced some of the most important events, obviously, from 36 on up to when Lenny's closed in the late 50s. So we'll try and get this radio A-64 back up and working. Neat radio. I got to replace some wiring. There's some flaky, some wiring going to pieces. Someone painted some kind of red, varnish or something on these wires, and it might be liquid tape. I'm not sure, but a lot of the wires have it on them. Anyway, kind of keeping you up on what's going on, and I think I will end the video there. This is Keith, and continuing to work on the A-64 GE. Thanks for watching, guys. Any suggestions you have, let me have them and I'll try and check them out. Thanks.